It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
What's happening, everybody? It is showtime, and it's almost the weekend, too. It is time for the Geno Jones Daily Variety Show. I do it live right here, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, stream live on YouTube, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 in Los Angeles. So I have guests today, but they're not on camera. They won't be on camera. You won't see either one of them. Well, I don't know. Maybe you might see one. You definitely might hear one, and the one that you hear from won't be the human one. That'll be probably my dog Teddy, who is he's already made a cameo appearance. Well, at least you heard him vocally. He's made a cameo appearance, and my technical director is actually here physically with me. You know, because of COVID-19, everybody has been doing the remote thing. But thanks to the Pfizer company. Shout out to the Pfizer company. I got my vaccines. I got my 2 shots and everything. So I'm good to go. So let's get right into the shows. It'll be a relatively short show today. Just want to kind of recap what's been going on in the news the last couple of weeks, okay? The family of 20-year-old Dante Wright was laid, I should say the family of 20-year-old Dante Wright laid him to rest today. They had a funeral service. It was an amazing service. Senator Amy Klobuchar spoke. You had a Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. As a matter of fact, the young man lived in Representative Omar's district, and of course, Senator Klobuchar, who was she ran for president. She was in the primary, one of the Democratic candidates that actually ran for president before she dropped out. And former vice president, now current president Joe Biden won. You know the whole history. But also Tammy, there's a second senator from the state of Minnesota. Actually, every state has 2. I can't think of her name. But anyway, she was there also. It'll come to me. Of course, you know, Dante Wright was killed by former Brooklyn cop, a 26-year veteran named Kim Potter, on April 11th. Now, on the same day that you got a guilty verdict, 2 guilty verdicts of murder. So you got 2 murder convictions and 1 manslaughter conviction Tuesday in the Derek Chauvin murder case, the murder of course, George Floyd. So on that same day, literally around the same time that the guilty verdicts came back for Derek Chauvin, 16-year-old Micaiah Bryant was killed by Columbus, Ohio police officer Nicholas Reardon. And also on the same day, the exact same day, on Tuesday, you had another unarmed African-American man by the name of Andrew Brown Jr. That was shot and killed by a North Carolina sheriff's deputy. And I believe it was Elizabeth, no, not Elizabeth, but in North Carolina, a small town in North Carolina. So, you know, we've been talking about, well, how can we put an end to this? How can we end unarmed black men, women, children? Now, there's some debate. Apparently, Micaiah Bryant had a steak knife. You may have seen the video. She actually called 911 because there were some older teens who had threatened to come over to her home. Micaiah was in a foster home. She was a foster child in a foster home. But the bottom line is, how can we put an end to black and brown children? Of course, you had the Hispanic young man, Adam Toledo, who you saw shot and killed by a Chicago police officer after you saw him put his hands up. So there have been reports that apparently he had tossed a gun that he had tossed it away right before the police officer gave him the command to stop and put his hands up. He had his hands up like this. He was shot in the chest and killed, trained to shoot what they call center mass, which shoot right in the chest, the heart area. So how can we put an end to this? So I'm going to beat this drum I'm going to beat this drum like I'm in a band. Really. How can we put an end to this? Well, and I've said this so many times, if I can't appeal to your sense of humanity, if I can't appeal to your sense of morality, if I somehow, just because of the skin that I am in, you can't see my humanity and see me as a person, or when you see a child of color, if you can't see your child in that child, if I can't appeal to your better angels, I can go dig in your pockets and I can get your attention that way. And the best way to do that is to repeal a law called qualified immunity. It's a federal law, federal statute that basically says it doesn't allow civilians to sue police officers. You have to go basically sue the city and the police departments. So taxpayers wind up footing the bill to pay for police officers who are guilty of excessive force. Police officers who, in the case of Derek Chauvin, are convicted murderers. But the taxpayers of Minneapolis paid, and the city, so when you hear the city paid, that means that the taxpayers paid $27 million to the family of George Floyd. So the family members that George Floyd have in the city of Minneapolis, their own money, the money that they pay taxes on, some of their taxpayer money was used to pay themselves for a city of Minneapolis police officer killing their family member, which just makes sense to me. So I got a family member and they were killed by a police officer. And then you're going to use my money to reimburse me because one of your officers whose salary I paid with my taxpayer dollars. You're going to use that money, my money, to reimburse me for this officer killing a family member of mine? So no, why should the city pay? Why should the taxpayers have to pay for police officers that engage in excessive force or who are found guilty of murder or manslaughter? No, like I said, I'm gonna need you, let's make it personal. You should be able to sue the individual officer or officers who engage in excessive force or police brutality that ends up in severe injury. Like the case of Jacob Blake up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, he's paralyzed for life. Or in the case of George Floyd, Dante Wright, they're no longer here, they were murdered. So no, we're not suing the city. The taxpayers are not paying the money. No, Derek Chauvin. How's that pension doing? You've been on the force about 19, 20 years? How much money you got saved up in the pension? So we know you don't have 27 million, but whatever you got, I need you to run me that money. Do you have a home? Do you have property? Do you have any other assets? Is your home paid for? You got the deed on the house? I need you to run me that deed. We're going to seize your assets, liquidate them, take that money, and pay the family. Oh, college tuition, say that accounts for college tuition for your kids? Not anymore. No. Oh, we got a car paid for? Oh, how's the title? Run us that title so we can sell that car, liquidate that asset, get the funds, and give it to the family. If I can't appeal to your morality and humanity, I can't get your attention by digging in your pockets. So, got to repeal qualified immunity. But you got to do this nationwide because you got 18,000. Think about it. You got over 18,000 police departments nationwide. Some police departments might be down with the program, want to reform, want to change. Some won't. So you need to pass a federal law that covers all 18,000 departments nationwide. That is why we need you. Talking to the federal government, talking to Senator Tim Scott. I'm here in Charleston, South Carolina. Senator Tim Scott. You've been sitting down, having a conversation, doing it quietly, behind the scenes. That's a good thing. With Senator Cory Booker, also Senator Karen Bass out in California, trying to come together so you can sign and pass in the Senate. It's already been passed in the House of Representatives. the United States House of Representatives to pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. Yes, the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, which would repeal qualified immunity right at the head of the class. So I hear Senator Tim Scott saying, well, no, you could be able to sue the city or the police department. So if you sue the police department, where do you think the police department, Senator Scott, is going to get the money from? They're going to get it from the city. Where does the city get the money from? They got to get it from taxpayers. Once again, why are you going to make taxpayers pay for the errors of a rogue cop, a killer cop, a cop that engages in excessive force or murder? No, do not. No, it is unacceptable to make. Now, you can make, if you want to throw the city in it, yes, they can be held liable. They're responsible for this officer being on the force. But at the end of the day, taxpayers should not have to pay for these basic acts of murder and excessive force. No, make the individual that engages in that act, make them pay. Doctors, they have to have malpractice insurance. They can be sued for malpractice. Attorneys can be sued for malpractice. Then police officers should be able to be sued for malpractice just like a doctor or a lawyer. It's just that simple. Repeal qualified immunity. No, we're not going to make taxpayers and cities pay. Yet, city, you're partly responsible. We need you to run us some money. But no, the individual that's responsible for the excessive force and the murder, we're coming to you. We're going to dig in your pockets. That's one. A second one that's not in this bill, but this is something that local jurisdictions can do. Some areas have done it. Some have done it wrong and didn't work. Require police officers to live in the communities they police. Require police officers to live and come from the communities they police. One of the biggest problems that I've said and I've seen for years when I see these cases of police brutality. I grew up in Chicago, so look, I've had my experience, and I lived in Los Angeles, so I've had my experience, never went to jail, but I've been harassed, I've been followed, I've been stopped. In Los Angeles, I was made to lay on the ground, beautiful suit, brand new suit, was going to a venue to host a comedy show, to MC and host a comedy show. Got pulled over because I was in a rental car. I've got the contract. Here's the contract, officer. Here's my ID. I'm the morning host of a radio show here in Los Angeles. This is back in the 90s, Stevie Wonder's radio station. Here's a contract to the rental car. Lay down in the street. Hollywood Boulevard. No, I was on Sunset Boulevard. I'll never forget this. Face down. On the ground, on the pavement. Brand new suit. They run everything. I gave them the contract. They run everything. They let me go. Did you think they said, we're sorry, Mr. Jones? But no apology, nothing. So, require police officers to live in the communities that they police, because too many times you have police officers who are patrolling communities that are not emotionally invested in the people or the neighborhoods they police. Yes, you have to be emotionally invested. You have to see yourself. You have to see yourself not as some authority figure, some authoritarian. I'm the law, and I need you to bend and bow and to obey my commands. And no. You're human. The people that you serve, allegedly serve and protect, they are fellow humans. You have to see their humanity. You have to see yourself in them. You have to see your child or your children or nieces and nephews in those children. You have to be emotionally invested at a certain level. You have to see their humanity. And a real good way to make sure that you can see someone else's humanity is when you have to live in that community and interact with those people in the community. When you see them at the supermarket, or you see them walking the dog in their neighborhood, or you see them playing baseball or soccer or basketball in their neighborhood, or going to and from the grocery store, or maybe riding their bicycle in the neighborhood. Yes. Require police officers to live in the communities they police. I think those are two main things, even though that is not in the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. That is something that cities and counties and states can do. Governors and mayors, city council members, county board members, that you can do that like now, right now, today. So, Senator Tim Scott, if you're watching, shout out to Senator Cory Booker. He's been a guest on one of my early editions of the Geno Jones Show. As a matter of fact, you can go back and binge watch that episode. Shout out to Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. Shout out to Senator Karen Bass of California. Yeah, I'm going to shout you out, Senator Tim Scott. From an ideological standpoint, we don't have anything in common. We don't see eye to eye on probably nothing. But I'm going to, let's say a broken clock is right twice a day. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, my brother. All right? But got to have qualified immunity. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act is not the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act without qualified immunity. Full stop. You can negotiate some of these other items on there, but you got to have that. That is non-negotiable as far as I'm concerned. So Senator Booker, Senator Bass, Senator Tim Scott, Tim, my brother, qualified immunity, non-negotiable. Got to have it. That's the only way you can ensure. Now, will it stop all cases of police brutality? No. Some just don't give a damn and don't care. But I guarantee you it will slow it up if you hold not just the officers that engage in the act, not just the officer that pulls the trigger, but the other officers that are on the scene that responded, because they have a duty. They've got a duty to make sure that other officers, if they see a fellow officer about to commit an act of excessive force, they have a duty to intervene and say, hey, whoa, hold on, partner. You do this, it ain't just your pension. It's mine too. So now you're about to mess up my money. So no. Let's think about this. Grab the taser before you grab the gun. Go ahead and grab the shotgun with the bean bag. Think about de-escalation, non-lethal force. Lethal force unless it is absolutely necessary. Make it the absolute last option. Because too many times when it comes to black men, women, and children, and brown men, women, and children, lethal force is not the last option, it's the first and only option. That's my prescription. There you go. That's my prescription policy. I don't know if maybe you guys can add that. Require Senator Booker. That might complicate it. So if you can, great. If not, like I said, we can have governors and mayors hold them accountable. City council people, you can do that right there in your city, in your town, right here, right now. Require police officers to live in the communities that they police. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Daily Variety Show, Monday through Friday. Tomorrow, it will be the Week in Review edition of the Geno Jones Show. We do it like that every Friday, so we'll just kind of recap the week. It's been a heavy week, so we'll have some fun. Just talk about, we've got some exciting movies coming out real soon, so we're just gonna, we'll recap serious stuff, but we'll have some fun too, because it's been a heavy week, and I'm exhausted. I am. Even though we got some good news. We didn't get justice with George Floyd, that verdict, but we did get a level of accountability, and accountability is the least thing that we should get. Accountability is the least thing that the Floyd family should get, and they got that. but we're going to lighten it up too. So God bless each and every one of you. Once again, thank you for watching, Mother. I love you. I know you're watching. And each and every one of you, I love you. I really do. And I thank you for watching. So please like, share, and subscribe to the Geno Jones channel right here on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, tag, and post this episode and all the other episodes, and go back and binge watch. I've had some incredible guests. Check that out. If you'd like to be an advertiser, if you'd like to be a sponsor, I'd be honored to have you be a sponsor on the Geno Jones Show. If you need a pitch man for your product, I am the king, not the king, the king. I'm the king. A pitch man. Jordan's looking at me like he's wacky. He's a wacky dude. So that's right, the king of pitch man. Reach out to me right here on my YouTube channel, or you can send me an email. That's how you spell Geno Jones. Geno Jones Show. Gmail. Geno Jones Show. And also, I'm Geno Jones Show on Instagram, Twitter, Geno Jones, Facebook, Geno Jones. And I got my public figure page, Geno Jones Live. Live is all caps. Shout out to Mr. Bruce Gage, the official wardrobe stylist and consultant for the Geno Jones Show. Speaking of Instagram, IG, check him out on IG or Instagram. Bruce Gage, G-A-G-E. Just do a search. Search Bruce Gage on Instagram, because he's actually got a different handle. But if you search Bruce Gage, G-A-G-E, you'll see him. Or check out Flyball, the store. The official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show, Mr. Markel Bailey. It's a bad man. Check him out on Instagram, on IG. Kel B. Cuttin, K-E-L-B-E-C-U-T-T-I-N. Ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, live right here in the Carolinas in Charleston, South Carolina. Kicking off the weekend. Another weekend edition, weekend review edition of the Geno Jones Show. But until then, I want you to be blessed. Thanks for watching again. All right, I'll see you.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.